What's up, fellow benchwarmers? This is your daily fantasy quick. What is up, guys? Daily fantasy quickie time on the first day of what's this? Week 18. How was week 17 for you?
Yeah, it was better. I beat you 9-0. So
You had to
but
remind me.
but that was the league. I was 13th or 14th. So I don't know how that happened. But this week, first day, I'm already down big opponent 1-8. So and it's big, as in the cats are far already. But aside from that, the other leagues are relatively better. The only league I really lost was the Invitationals. I'm still down there. I'm 14th there also in the Invitationals. But yeah, at least better than week 16. Better than week 16.
Couple of weeks more before fantasy playoffs in our fantasy benchwarmers league. I'm excited in the few leagues wherein I was like 12, 13. I have this one league wherein I was 13th or 12th for a long time, and now I'm up to 10th with a chance. I'm just probably a couple of games away from the 8th with 2 weeks left. So um
Do you know when our trade deadline is?
Feb 23 next week.
Okay, that's why we have many trades.
Yes, there's many, not a lot actually. We've had a lot more early on, but so far, but there are a few trades that are being um how should I say it, dubious or
Question.
questioned. How should we deal with that?
I don't know.
We're not
I
gonna
guess,
say what trade it is because it's still under evaluation, but there are some
but
trades.
basically, it's a trade between a team that's contending and a team that basically is. Well, I looked at it. He's around 9 games behind.
He's out of it pretty much.
Yeah, mostly with 2 weeks left. It's actually 18 and 19. That's the last 2 weeks. Mathematically, still possible, but it's improbable to
Yeah.
happen. And so the deal. This is tough, when deals are fair, as Jeremy said. When deals are fair, you can't really put assumptions that they did something or they have other intentions in making the deal.
Yeah.
So we don't know all our managers. We don't know if they know each other. We don't know the stories.
Well,
So that
we know some because they
yeah, we know
played
some.
with we played with in our leagues a few years ago, but this year we've got more leagues, so that means not just we've added more players, so there are more players who we don't really know, and the
Yeah.
interaction isn't as much compared to the past years because there's what 17 leagues. We have
Mm.
17 leagues, so it's crazy, but yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough. We talked about this. If your last play, should you allow you to trade? If you're at the bottom, because most likely you don't care anymore, even if it's a fair trade, even if it's you
That's
don't
that's
care as
what you said.
much.
You explained that maybe the team that's out didn't care, just accepted the offer when it was offered, and the team who offered it, the team that is in contention, had of studied it. He looked at the playoff schedules. He looked at everything, how to frame the deal. So it's not collusion. He did it all by himself and then offered the deal. And then that person, the one who's out of it, okay, I'll accept. Maybe that was what happened. But again, it's hard to put assumptions into things that we don't know about. So if we cannot assume collusion, we also cannot assume no collusion.
Yeah.
So it's both ways. So, but if it's just with Jeremy and we won't really care. I mean, not that we're arrogant or anything. We just, I mean, okay, if it's fair, okay, it's fair. But there are 9 other managers basically. Or no, 11 other managers playing in the league. So we
Yeah.
have to balance their interests as well. Because of course it's a paid league. Most of our FPW leagues are paid leagues. So we have to balance that out as well.
Yeah. Also, it's, well, one, it's tough to prove pollution. So we talked about this earlier. As long as the trades are fair, you shouldn't uh You shouldn't really, just veto them altogether, right?
Yeah.
Also, like we also said this, that if there's one team doing his research, trying to make moves to make his team better, try to give himself a better chance of winning, um, in winning the league, do we penalize him for doing that?
No,
Assuming, right?
we don't. But that's assuming that he did that work and assuming that he took advantage of the other managers' nonchalant
Yeah,
attitude for the league. But uh, to your point, we should reward that manager because he actually put in work, whereas the other top teams didn't care or didn't bother. But
yeah,
that's why my suggestion is maybe we can make them explain.
yeah. That's one thing. That's one thing. I think that's the next step that we're gonna do in the question trade. To ask some logic, particularly on the on the team that's pretty much out of the contention, right? Because obviously the one that is still in contention or a top one of the top in the leagues, there's really not much to explain, but
So
I
if
because he's got the better deal. I mean, he's got the better deal. To be fair, um, he's got the better end of the deal. But if you look at the
I think
totality of the
when
deal,
you look at
it's
the deal,
pretty fair.
actually I do not even know who get if it's that without thinking of anything else who wins that trade. I'm not that we can't go to the specifics, but it's 50-50 for me. Both sides have their edge because the other is giving out more players, quality players. The other may be more star value
Yeah,
players, but it's tough to lose depth also, which is what the other managers do. That's why it's a little bit up in the air for me. It's not as lopsided really,
yeah,
but I told Jeremy that playoff schedule matters. This is head to head, and we cannot discount that. We cannot discount that. But if we're giving out playoff schedules for people to see, they have to take advantage of that information, right? They have to take
yes,
advantage of those information. If not, why would we even care about posting playoff
yeah,
schedules? So in the ideal world, a manager who's just 2 or 3 games away, let's say, they have a chance to get in. Now, these managers are the ones that should be targeted with playoff scheduling in mind because the players of that manager, let's say he has a player like Memphis player or whatever player that have a good schedule, but that player is injured or whatever. So the teams on top can get that player with good playoff schedule and give him players that would maybe help him to get to the playoffs. It's win-win.
yeah,
It's win-win. The problem with the team that's out, it's not win-win. That is
yeah.
that is what that's what maybe in my mind why we could veto it or maybe possibly there's a chance to veto it because it's not a win-win trade. I think.
Yeah, there was a similar trade that was questioned. Not really similar, but there was a trade that was questioned earlier, late last week. It was now we can say that the trade. It was a Dame Lillard and Vucevic for Jokic and Mathurin. Um, we didn't. Both commission and I agreed that it was okay. That's the price you pay for Jokic.
Jokic. Yeah.
Uh, a manager messaged me that he feels it's too much for Jokic, right? But if you think about it, the one getting Jokic is actually right now seventh, right? The one getting Jokic. That means he had Dame and Vucevic and wasn't really up there, right? If you think about it, he's throwing he's the person who is getting Vucevic and Lillard. I'm not sure if it's really a downgrade in the sense that if this Vucevic and Lillard were that strong, how come the manager who owns them is only seventh, and then the player who originally owned Jokic is currently second?
But I think you could say that team build matters. This is head to head. So we can't really compare teams based on those star players alone. I
True.
think
I mean, there's
depends on.
there's
plus
still a lot of
matchups, plus injuries. So maybe those things, uh, those things come into account. But both of them are in playoff contention, so I don't think
yeah,
there's any collusion here. And they might play each other in the first round if
yeah,
it stays the same, 2 versus 7, right? So,
yeah.
so I think they're both just really had different things in mind.
Yeah.
About maybe playoff scheduling came into play also in that situation, because I know Jokic has a bad playoff schedule. So maybe
Jokic
the
is
Jokic,
actually I checked. Jokic is has a 2 game schedule in the
yeah, yeah,
finals.
yes,
So maybe that came into play. Although
maybe
it
maybe
wasn't really a big advantage because Lillard had I think he had a 3-3-4 schedule, not as
yeah,
because
but
Jokic
maybe
had the 4-4 in the first 2 weeks of our
he's thinking
playoffs.
that he's gonna make the finals. Maybe he's more confident, so he wants to just check on the finals. Well,
Yeah,
he wants to win. Maybe, I mean, different managers, different viewpoints, so it's tough to balance it out. But we will. We have been able, I think, for the most part, just keep it, fair. That's the
yeah.
most important thing. Keep it fair.
That's why I also check already if there are if whenever there's a trade in our emails, I always check what position these managers are because
Yeah.
those things come into play.
Just for add context, no, we have a trade in one of my league, a Roto league, where it's Jamoran. Uh, I'll put it here because this one I think is a clearer veto. A trade like this would be clearer in my mind. The team that is out is gonna get um it's gonna get Nick Richards, Bojan from Detroit, and Jamoran. The team that is in will get Giannis, Bradley Beal, and Santi Aldama. So that I think is more clearer veto, because although it's Roto, but still a
It's
clearer
Roto.
veto. But I mean, I know Yanis can hurt you in Roto, but giving up Yanis and Beal and then getting Ja doesn't make sense, because Ja can hurt you also. Ja and Bojan, Nick Richards is basically a throwaway
Yeah,
with Santi. So I think that's a veto, and mostly people vetoed it also.
yeah.
So
But
those
if
are
you're
easier.
like we said, even at the start of the season, if you're trading Yanis, the perception there has always been there should be a first round type player that goes with that with with your trade, right? I mean, that's always a perception. No matter how bad Yanis is in free throws, the counting stats are still good. Plus, there's this
Uh-huh.
perception that he is still first round value, and you want to get a first round player. That's why the trade that I was talking to you about, Lillard and Vucevic, for pretty much just Jokic, right? Because Maturin, it's borderline. You can choose not to keep him or choose to hold him or whatever, but that's irrelevant pretty much, right? That's why that deal pushed through because lots of managers felt like there's a premium for getting a player like
Yeah.
Jokic. There's a premium for that. So um, because of the availability, the consistency, the reliability of Jokic, right?
Just just for context, what did Jokic do today? I mean, if he had Jokic, was it today? I think it was. Yeah, today.
He had another triple double, I think.
The triple double is not the hard part there. It's 12 out of 14, 27
Field
points.
goal.
Field goal,
He didn't
12
have
out
a
of
steal
14.
though. No.
Didn't have a steal or a block, but he also didn't have a turnover. I mean, for someone who got 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and 27 points, 12 out of 14 field goal. I mean, imagine your field goal. Imagine
Yeah,
your assist.
actually, that's a big
Right?
push. Your field goal.
Yeah. And and look at the last. I mean, I'll go all the way to, I don't know, all the way. I'm looking all the way till November. He hasn't had a game less than 50%. The last
Yeah,
one was October
and he's
29.
and he's shooting threes at that. He's
And
shooting
shooting threes
threes.
at that. 3 out of 10, October 29. After that, not one game less than 50%. So, I mean, that is just something. That's just an anchor in field goal, an anchor in rebounds, an anchor in assists. That's 3 categories right away. Just need
Yeah.
2 more. Just need 2 more, and you win already. So
Yeah.
that's big.
Partner him up with, a solid, elite like scorer as well, right?
Partner him up with Thybulle. Thybulle is the new star.
Stocks. That's a good segue to our next topic. But yeah, I think and look at what Vucevic did today. Not much, right? 13 points, I think. He had 13 a
Yeah.
double, but not the good double that you'd expect. So, we've seen lots of trades. Sometimes we overanalyze these trades and then realize, it was a useless overanalyzation because at the end of the day, no one benefited or everyone benefited, or it was irrelevant. The discussion was
Yeah.
irrelevant because this player got injured, this player got hurt, right? So similar to how the All-Star game has been, right? We've been talking about the snubs. Now all the snubs are in because everyone's injured. Imagine that.
Except Jalen Brunson. No, Brunson's still out. And I think
Well,
Davis got in, right?
um,
No,
I
Davis did get in. So Anthony Davis, Brunson,
right. I think I lost a bit. Kumesh, you're still there? All right, we are back. We just had some technical issues there. We were talking about the All Star. I don't know who were replaced, but there's still a lot of players injured as well. I'm not sure if, like, say, Jalen Brown replaced?
yeah. The Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, and Pascal Siakam are in
Yeah.
for
So
Durant, Steph, and Jalen. I think
Yeah.
the three players.
how about LeBron?
Or
Is LeBron
Zion.
playing?
Zion. LeBron is playing. I think he's gonna play their next game.
All right.
I mean, it's important, right? All-Star game. That's important for LeBron. So
Yeah.
I think he's gonna.
And he's what? He's perfect in the All Star. I think he hasn't
Yeah.
lost
Yes.
since the
That's
new
true.
format. So let's see. Anyway, we got there because we were talking about some useless debates, and then talked about the snubs. We were debating about who were snubbed, and then suddenly, right now, fast forward to today, a few days before the All Star, all those snubs pretty much made it because of all the injuries. So it's a crazy thing. Anyway, today, just quickly, Thybulle. You mentioned Thybulle. Solid game. He started. That's a good sign with Reddish. But I think who was out today? There was somebody out. Yeah,
Jeremy
Jeremy
Grant.
Grant.
Jeremy Grant. So I don't expect the 14 points to stick. Today without Jeremy Grant, it's basically Simons and Dame Lillard as the only scorers. He had to score. There's no choice. There's no other players there. The other starters were Eubanks and Cam Reddish. But there's still no clarity as to who between Reddish and Thybulle will start. If I were the Blazers, I'll start Thybulle because Jeremy can score. They need probably a replacement for Josh Hart, but we don't know if that's gonna stick. We'll wait. But for now, you have to add him everywhere.
Yeah.
That's clear. That's clear.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Thybulle is from Portland. I heard an interview. I think he grew up there. So
Isn't
I'm
he
pretty,
Australian?
yeah, but maybe he grew up there. So
Okay.
I would think, somehow fans would love him there, and I'm not sure how much that matters when it comes to basketball, but I'm pretty sure somehow it does, right? Being a fan favorite in the city that you're playing with. Josh Hart also played today, but
Yeah.
came off the bench. He played well though. He played well, but he came off the bench. Grimes started. The New York, stuck with their usual starting lineup. Josh Hart was 8 out of 12. I think he shot well.
Yeah. 27 minutes, I think, overall. He had 20 something points. He played well. The past two games still coming off the bench, but I'm pretty sure that Tibbs would play him a lot. No, like today, RJ Barrett was really bad. So I think Tibbs would value what Josh Hart can do, which is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
He can help them if Barrett is struggling. He can help them if Grimes is struggling. He can help them in the rebounds, passing, everything. So he's safe, and actually his value kind of moves up the way that they're playing.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing a lot of games, a lot of good games.
Yeah. So yeah, Josh Hart hopefully gets a starting role, but let's see. I'm not sure who they're gonna replace. I don't think they're gonna replace RJ Barrett.
No, it's Grimes. It's
Yeah,
probably
most
going to be
likely it's
Grimes.
Grimes. Then they probably move RJ Barrett to the 2 and then Josh Hart to the 3. But we'll see. So obviously he should be starting as he was in Portland. Sadiq Bey is another player who finally played. He started. Who was out today? John Collins was out.
John Collins. Yeah. He
Uh,
started but played 20 minutes. So mixed bag.
yeah, plus it's not the verdict is still out because it's his first game. Usually the familiarity of the system, they just try to put him out there just because there's name value as well. But when John Collins comes back, we still don't know what happens there. So we'll see. A few worry players that you might be asking about. Cam Thomas drop.
Drop. We talked about it yesterday. I think 5 over that going to be what the starting 5 was for the past 2 games, which is Dinwiddie, Mikal, DFS, Cam Johnson, and Nick Claxton. And anybody not in that 5 would be hard pressed to find the standard deep value. Cam Thomas, Ben Simmons, these are all drop players right now.
Tari Eason.
And they mentioned something about Ben. Yeah, I put Tari Eason there. He's a drop also in 14 team leagues. Maybe deeper you could hold on, but 14, not doing enough. It's just not doing enough at this point. And as much as I love him, I have to be practical at this point and realistic. You have to get something out of your players at this point.
And you were saying about Ben?
Well, they mentioned something about Ben. Jack Vaughn said you can't play him with a center because spacing will be bad. You can't play him with another guard because that guard, like Spencer probably or whatever, will do what Ben usually does. So he said it's gonna be tough to find a role for him.
But yeah, Ben Simmons, players who own Ben Simmons should be worried right now at this point because it looks bleak, and the body language plus the way Jack Vaughn has been addressing Ben Simmons, the progression of that, how he has been addressing him in the media, hasn't been good. Right? There was this one interview a few weeks ago where he said that he gives credit to players who are ready to play, and I get that as someone because that at that time Ben Simmons was out due to knee soreness, and I get that as a fiery words that were intended for Ben Simmons, that he wasn't ready. He's not ready. He's not getting ready. He's not maybe doing what needs to be done to prepare for a game, and that's why these things happen. So the progression of that doesn't look good. Plus, they were shopping around Ben Simmons. I don't think there were any interested parties. So tough to own Ben Simmons at this point. Yeah, you can probably move on. There's name value there, but not a lot at this point. All right, that's it. We'll cut it right there. We'll probably talk more about cookies tomorrow. As always, please subscribe, guys. Please like, follow, share. All our socials are in the description. And good luck, week 18. And see you guys again tomorrow for another daily fantasy. Bye, guys.